Hello and welcome to week 6. Here we go. Continuing on. This week, we're going to look at the paradiddle diddle. I know it sounds funny, but the paradiddle diddle is really, really great. It's a great rudiment. It's fun to play, and there's a zillion and a half ways to play it, incorporating all different parts of the drum set. It's really, really great. So let's start looking at the paradiddle diddle. I'm just going to quickly jump over and grab the outline for a second. And we'll quickly take a look at that so we don't miss anything important. So here's our outline for week 6. Paradiddle diddle. So we've looked at the paradiddle. Paradiddle, paradiddle. Right, left, right, right, left, right, left, left. So with a paradiddle diddle, it makes sense that we're adding a set of double strokes to it. And that's what we're doing. Paradiddle diddle. Right, left, right, right, left, left. That's the paradiddle diddle. It's got 6 strokes in it. It doesn't have 4, it's got 6. So the thing about the paradiddle diddle, first thing, is that it does not swap hands as you play it. When you play the paradiddle, it goes right, left, right, right, left, right, left, left, right, left, right, right, left, right, left, left. It goes back and forth. The paradiddle diddle always goes the same way. Right, left, right, right, left, left, right, left, right, right, left, left, right, left, right, right, left, left. So you're always starting it with the same hand. So that means that you've got to practice it starting with the right hand a whole bunch of times, and then you've got to turn around and practice it starting with the left hand a whole bunch of times so you can get comfortable doing it both ways. That's why it's written out here in the outline. Right, left, right, right, left, left, and also left, right, left, left, right, right. There it is. The paradiddle diddle is played using 16th note triplets. Now you can also play it using 16th note, normal 16th note rhythm, which we will do here as well. But we're going to look at it specifically being used as 16th note triplets. So we looked in week 4 at how to play 8th notes and 8th note triplets. We looked into that, and hopefully you've had a lot of practice kind of getting comfortable with the idea of the triplet rhythm. The 16th note triplet, it's the same concept as the 8th note triplet. It's just that it's based off of the regular 16th note instead of the regular 8th note. When we're demonstrating, we'll go over that so that you can see what I mean and we can look at that and you'll hear it and get a sense of what you're supposed to do. So we're going to play that on the snare. We're going to practice it with the right hand leading and with the left hand leading. We're going to use some toms and snare together. And then we're going to turn it into a very long pattern using a half of a regular paradiddle here at the end to flip your hands. So that's something that we're going to practice too. Here you can see the 2 paradiddle diddles. Right, left, right, right, left, left, right, left, right, right, left, left. And then half of a paradiddle. Right, left, right, right. And then it switches. Left, right, left, left, right, right, left, right, left, left, right, right, left, right, left, left. And it switches back. So that's how that works. So this is just all going to be about the paradiddle diddle today. So let's jump in and start looking at that. I'm going to share this screen just for a second first so we can just talk over what we're going to do and what you're seeing here. Remember, we mentioned that the 16th note triplets on the snare to start. So when you have 16th note triplets, you've got a 6 above this grouping. That basically is 2 sets of 3 16th note triplets, or you could name this a sextuplet. Sextuplet, sextuplet. 6 strokes in this grouping. That's what that means. So there's a few important ways to look at this in order to kind of understand how these are played. Same as all the other things we've looked at, you've got these blocks. See how it's nicely divided into one block here, one block here, one block here, and one block here. And those are your quarter notes. 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay? So those groupings of 6 strokes are all fitting into one quarter note space. So in order to write that down, what we can do is a comparison so you can see it. You've got a quarter note, and then underneath it you could have your 4 normal 16th notes. And that would be fitting in that one space of the quarter note. 1 E and A. That's your 4 regular 16th notes. But in this case, those 16th notes are triplets. So we have 6 of them. So it looks more like this. 1 quarter note has the 6 strokes in it. So how did we get to those 6 strokes? This is how we did it. I'm going to draw this out too so you can see really clearly how we arrived at these 6 16th note triplets. When you take 2 8th notes and split those in half, you get this. Ooh, I dropped my pencil. Let's just grab it. There we go. So when you take 2 regular 8th notes and split them in half, you get that. Each 8th note breaks down into 2 equal 16th notes. Can't get this in the right spot. There we go. So that's how those 2 8th notes would normally divide into regular 16th notes. So, but what's happened instead is that the 8th notes have split in to 3 notes each. And that's why we have the sextuplets happening. So each of those 8th notes has divided into 3 16th notes instead of 2. Just that it looks like that. So when we're looking at this sheet here, a good way to break it down, you know that this is 1 full quarter note here. So 3 16th notes is 1 8th note. These 3 16th notes are 1 8th note, and these 3 16th notes are the second 8th note. So 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and. And that's a good way of kind of making sure that you're playing these things correctly, is if you can keep in mind the and. So we have da 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 1 da da and da da 2 da da and da da 3 da da and da da 4 da da and da 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 da. So that's how those would sound. If we played our bass drum as a quarter note, 1, 2, 3, 4. Up, 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 up. Those are your 6 sextuplets inside of each quarter note pulse. So let's get started and just try to play the pattern, just so you can kind of feel how that feels in your hand. Right, left, left is the same for each of these blocks. Same for each group of 6, all the way through these 2 measures. So let's repeat that around a little bit. Keep all the strokes nice and even and consistent and relaxed. And they're all the same speed, length, and everything. So here we go. 1, 2, 3, 4. Right, left, right, left, right, left, right, left, right, left, right, left. So that's the paradiddle diddle, starting with the right hand. Take your time and play that really slow. I played it a little bit faster. Start like this. Right, left, right, left, left, right, left, right, left, left. Paradiddle, diddle, paradiddle, diddle. And if you can keep it nice and slow, that's going to help your kind of body internalize it. You might find that your hands are kind of slipping in and playing regular paradiddles and playing consecutive double strokes for too long or things like that because of the other rudiments that we've been practicing. So that's always something that you got to sort of overcome at first. Your body will go into the muscle memory of the other rudiments that you've learned. So it's important that you pay close attention to what your hands are doing and keep it nice and slow. Second exercise is to play the paradiddle diddle starting with the left hand. Like I mentioned at the beginning in the overview, we have to do it both ways. So left, right, left, left, right, right, left, right, left, left, right, right. So that's the left-handed side paradiddle. Let's do that all again and add the bass drum. Here we're doing the bass drum. And take a look at each block. There's your bass drum right at the beginning. Beat 1, 2, 3, and 4. Bass drum playing on those quarter notes. So right-handed paradiddle diddle with bass drum. Paradiddle diddle, paradiddle diddle. Next line, same exercise, but left hand start. Left hand together with bass drum at the beginning of each group of 6 strokes. Paradiddle, diddle, paradiddle, diddle, paradiddle, diddle. There it is. So practice each of those over and over again. Get that nice and comfortable, locked in, consistent, not too fast. And what you can do eventually is add that walking foot pattern in that we've done on a lot of our previous rudiments. And remember that when you do that, you're going to be doing that on the and. 1, and, 2, and. So that means you're going to have a bass drum, then 2 hand strokes after it, then your hi-hat little stroke will be there, and 2 strokes after it. I just want to see if I can draw that. Let's see if I can draw that. Does it work? No. That would have been nice if I could draw that on there. But it's like I spoke to you about. The 6 sextuplet strokes can be broken up into 2 separate halves of 3, and you would count that like this. 1 and 2 and 1 and 2 and 1 da da 2 da da and hold on. 1 da da and da da 2 da da and 1 da da and da da 2 da da and. So if you play the paradiddle diddle that way, it would go like this. Slow down. So the tricky thing about that is if you look at it here, paying attention to the sticking pattern here that we see, and knowing that you're breaking this up into 2 halves of 3, you've got right, left, right for the first 3, and then your hi-hat foot will play here together with this second right in your hands here, and then left, left after it. So that is kind of tricky. But it's something that you can challenge yourself with down the line. So we played those with the bass drum, left-handed and right-handed. Now we're going to get into throwing some toms into the mix of this paradiddle diddle. See how that sounds and how it feels. This is a great rudiment for building up some really cool fill language and vocabulary, and for moving around the drums with speed and efficiency as you get more comfortable. So first bar here, we're playing right, left, right, right, left, left. And we're starting off with a floor tom stroke. That's that line there. Bass is playing on all the quarter notes, and the floor tom is playing together with it on all the quarter notes. 1, 2, 3, 4. All the rest of the 5 strokes are on the snare. So basically what we're doing is playing that first stroke on the right hand and coming back to the snare for the rest of the paradiddle diddle. Okay, so 1, 3, 4, and that's that floor tom on the first stroke. So you could play that faster. That's all the paradiddle diddle, just at different speeds with that tom on the very first stroke. So there you get an idea of what you can do with the paradiddle diddle once you've got it really comfortable and you can play it smoothly. Second variation of adding the toms. This measure, you can see something's a little bit different. We've got the bass drum and the floor tom together on the first hit. This guy's up here. So your second stroke is now on the high tom. The remaining 4 are on the snare. So if you break that down according to the sticking, you've got a single stroke on the floor tom, a single stroke on the high tom, and then 2 sets of doubles on the snare. So in the first measure here, we played this. Now we're playing this. So that involves 2 toms now. So you get that low to high kind of melodic sound. And then you hear what it sounds like when you speed it up. So still adding more toms. And remember to practice each of these versions on its own. Spend some really good time on it, nice and slow. A good way to do it is actually, and this applies to all the rudiments that we've looked at, start them super slow, repeat, 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 repeat for quite a while, and then gradually start to increase the speed a little bit, keep it going, and then see if you can slow it back down again. When you do that, when you change tempo gradually, it really helps to increase your control over the sticks, and it adds a whole different element to how you're flowing with the drums and in your body, and it really does help your control. So I'll demonstrate that with this first one here, with the single floor tom. I'd start it really slow. Keep that going for quite a while at this slow tempo. And I start to gradually pick it up a little bit. Stay there for a little bit. Speed up a little bit more. Now, obviously, when you're first beginning, you're not going to be able to play that range, but you can come up with your own little version. It helps you to find out where your limit is as you're developing. If you try to speed up, it helps you to find out, okay, I can't do that, and then you dial it back down, and then the slower tempos start to feel easier as you push yourself in a little bit to those faster ones. So it's like if you were a sprinting Olympic athlete and you ran, different lengths of races. If you ran a really long race and you push yourself way longer than you normally would, the next time you go to just do that shorter race that you usually do, it feels way easier, it feels way quicker. So it's a similar concept. You push yourself up a little bit in speed, and then you realize, okay, that's my limit, I can't go beyond that, and then you go back down again, and those slower tempos start to feel way easier. Okay, so this line here, we're still looking at adding toms. So what do we have here now? We've got starting with left, right, left, left, right, right. So we've reversed it. Sticking is now starting with the left hand. And that's why we've got this stroke up here. This is your high tom. Left, right on the floor tom. Left, left, right, right. So this is the reverse of what we've played in the first one. We've got two toms here. High tom, floor tom, snare, 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 snare. Let's try that pattern. So we're starting with the left hand up here on this first tom. Paradiddle, paradiddle. There that one is. Still with the left hand onto this next exercise. Look at what's going on here. We've got snare for 2 strokes, left, right, 2 strokes on the high tom, and 2 strokes on the floor tom. So it's going snare, snare, tom, 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 tom. Let's try that pattern out. 2 strokes on the snare. is. And with all these here, you've got 4 variations with toms. 2 that are right hand leading and 2 that are left hand leading. As with everything we've looked at, feel free to try out your own combinations. Come up with other ideas. Just try things. Keep to the pattern. Right, left, 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 right, left, right, right. But just involve different drums. See what you can come up with. And practice each measure over and over again by itself. Then challenge yourself by trying to play one after the other. Okay, so you play one measure here, then on to this one. And repeat those 2 bars. Do the same for these left-handed ones. Challenge yourself further again by adding in the hi-hat foot here in the midway point, which is the and. 1, da, da, and, da, da. Hi-hat foot there. Get that walking foot pattern in. And those are ways you can continue to challenge yourself and expand within just this simple paradiddle-diddle pattern. Last line here is a good challenge. This is that long pattern that is mentioned in the overview that will flip your hands around halfway through. What we do is we play this as regular 16th notes. So you can see that here. These are regular 16th notes. These numbers above do not mean that these are sextuplets. These just mean that these are grouped in groups of 6, 6, and then 4. And that's the reason that's like that is because this is a paradiddle-diddle. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 strokes. But these strokes are broken up into the quarter note block of regular 16th notes. So we have 1 E and a, 2 E and a. So these guys actually go across this point here. So in order to make it clear what combination you're playing, we put this here to show you that's a paradiddle-diddle up to that point. And then here's another paradiddle-diddle that ends there. 2 paradiddle-diddles is 2 times 6 strokes is 12. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. These are your 12 16th notes that are making up that space. 4, 4, and 4. 4 times 3 is 12. But we just break it up that way so you can see it clearly. And then the half of a paradiddle makes up the last 4 16th notes. And that's how you then flip your hand, finishing on the right here, starting with the left here. So let's try that combination on the snare. Nice and slow. And you can say these rudiment names as you're playing it. Paradiddle, diddle, paradiddle, diddle, paradiddle. At this point, we're swapping to the left hand for the second measure. Paradiddle, diddle, paradiddle, diddle, paradiddle. So let's put that whole thing together, and I'll repeat it a few times. Paradiddle. So there you have that whole long pattern that switches back and forth. Now, when you're hearing that, all you hear is snare. Basically, all you're hearing is this. Because there's no accents or anything being played in there. So when you're practicing that on the snare, it can be confusing, and it's very easy to kind of lose your place. To be like, whoa. Because there's just these endless snare hits that you can't really tell apart from each other. So what I like to do with this is add a tom on the first stroke of each group. Similar to what we did here with the paradiddle diddles. First hit was on the floor tom with the right hand. It's the same idea. We're going to play right hand on the floor tom for each of these rights. That's the first of each group. So for the first half first measure of this, it would be like this. Paradiddle, paradiddle, paradiddle. That way you can hear that floor tom, and it nicely kind of tells you, boom, this is the start of a group of 6. And here's the next group of 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 1, 2, 3, 4. So that breaks it up nicely. It helps you to hear it. And then when we go to the second measure with the left hand leading here, we'll play that up on the first tom. Okay? So it's similar to what we did with the 5-stroke rolls last time. You remember how you went right, right, left, right, left, left, right, right, left. Or with the paradiddles that we did earlier on before that. Paradiddle, paradiddle. It's the same concept. It just helps to make things sound a little bit more clear and help you to internalize these patterns. So let's play this whole thing with those toms in there. And I'll do it a few times. You'll start to hear a melody pattern coming out of the toms. So there you can start to hear that. Dun, 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 dun. The toms start to make a nice melodic kind of statement there when they're arranged that way. And it's a great pattern for getting into those like double strokes in there, keeping the flow. So you can work on that one nice and slow and steady. Get used to those hands flip-flopping as you go in that long, long paradiddle-diddle exercise. So moving on to the second half of this week, we're basically just going to play some groove, and we're going to practice that paradiddle-diddle fill, okay? Coming out of the groove. So this is how this section's going to work. Let's lay it out so that you know clearly how we're approaching this. We have a groove that I've taken from earlier on. Bass, bass, snare, bass, snare, bass, bass, snare, bass, snare. So let's recap that groove just to make sure that you can remember it, play it well. 1 and 2 and 4. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4. So there's the groove we're going to do. We've got 4 measures of this groove. 1, 2, 3, 4. After that, you'll play this fill, which is 2 measures long. This is the pattern we just looked at. Okay? Paradiddle diddle, paradiddle diddle, paradiddle. Paradiddle diddle, paradiddle diddle, paradiddle. So we'll do that fill coming out of this groove. 4 measures of the groove, 2 measures of the fill. These are 16th notes again, as you can see. So those are twice the speed as the 8th notes that we're playing on the hi-hat. What's super important when practicing something like this is to make sure that you don't do it too fast. Start your beat slow so that when you get to the 16th note fill, it's not too crazy fast for your hands to do. And you want to be able to practice it accurately so that your time feel is consistent with the beat that you're playing before it. So let me demonstrate this now, and you'll see what I mean. Groove, groove, fill. I'm going to start it really slow, and this is a good speed for you to start practicing this at. Nice and slow. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4. Second time, 2 and 3 and 4. And third time, 2 and 3 and 4. And fourth time, 2 and 3 and 4. And paradiddle, diddle, paradiddle, diddle, paradiddle, paradiddle, diddle, paradiddle, diddle, paradiddle. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4. And 3 and 4. Third time, 2 and 3 and 4. Fourth time, 2 and 3 and 4. And paradiddle, 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 paradiddle. So you could hear how those 16th notes, when I came to the fill, they weren't that fast. Dat, 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 dat. And that's a speed that you can still kind of control even if you're just starting out with those 16th notes. You can execute those and get used to that pattern that way. So that is how you would do that coming out of this groove. Let's do it now with this final version here. Now we've added some toms to the paradiddle diddle fill. Which ones do we have? Let's take a look. Always take a look and make sure you got it and you understand what it is. Floor tom, high tom. So floor tom, high tom, snare, 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 snare. Floor tom, high tom, snare, 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 snare. Floor tom, high tom, snare, snare. Flipping to the left hand, high tom, floor tom, snare, 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 snare. High tom, floor tom, snare, 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 snare. High tom, floor tom, snare, snare. And then back into the groove. So how you would practice this is to play the 4 measures of groove and then do this fill on the snare. And do that a bunch of times. Get real comfortable with going 4 bars of groove, 2 bars of the snare fill. 4 bars of groove, 2 bars of the snare fill. Once you've done that a bunch and you think, okay, that's pretty good, then do it using the tom version fill. 4 bars of groove, jump down and play the tom version fill. And again, 4 bars of groove, down here to the tom version fill. Okay, so let's try that. I'm going to play the groove nice and slow again. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and second time 2 and 3 and 4. Third time 2 and 3 and 4 and fourth time 2 and 3 and 4 and paradiddle, 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 paradiddle. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4. Third time 2 and 3 and 4. Fourth time 2 and 3 and 4 and paradiddle, diddle, paradiddle, diddle, paradiddle, paradiddle, paradiddle. So you can practice that on its own, that version of that fill. Just practice that a bit on its own so you can get comfortable with it. Right, left, right, right, left, left, right, left, right, right, left, left, right, left, right, right, left, right, left, left, right, left, right, left, right, left, left. You can hear how you go up the toms, low, high, and then the other way around, high, low, high, low. Now that probably sounds pretty crazy hearing it. Probably sounds like, whoa, how on earth is he doing that? But as you've been learning through this course, everything can be broken down and approached nice and slow and steady. And once you've kind of, you see it written down and you can look at it, you can kind of demystify how it's done. And then just slowly and methodically practicing that, your body gets it. And then those things that sound kind of impressive and fast and you know, wow, how do they do that? It's actually not that hard once you've worked up to it. And that's the same with all this stuff in here. So the paradiddle diddle is a very, very useful rudiment, as you've seen. So one last thing to look at, we can move that paradiddle diddle around the drums. When we played it on the snare with the bass drum, starting with the right hand, we would go like this. Right, left, right, left, left. You can play that same pattern on each drum. That's a good way to practice it too. One full paradiddle diddle on each drum. And that gives you the means to play 6 strokes on a drum instead of 4 with the regular 16th notes. And when you get the paradiddle diddle happening nice and smoothly in your hands, you can play that pretty fast without much effort. Just like that. All right, so that's the paradiddle diddle. That's week 6. We'll see you next time for week 7. Bye-bye.